Hello and welcome, Eagle fans, to the Week 6 McDonald's Coaching Show. Stop by McDonald's in North Monroe on Highway 165. Download the app for a quick drive-thru experience, exclusive discounts, or set up a McDelivery. I like saying McDelivery. So we're here with head coach Stephen Fitzhugh, coming off a win last week against Rayville for homecoming. A great win, 45-8 was the victory, and I want to talk about that game for just a minute. But before we do, Coach, you're 5-0, halfway through the season, 2-0 in conference. Next week you host Delhi Charter. So we're at the halfway point of the season. This team has outscored opponents 232 to 14. I do want to say this, though, Coach. General Trask is 3-2. They're the only team with the winning record that we've played in the first half of the season. If we look at our win record for the first half opponents versus the second half opponents, our first half opponents are 5-20. Our second half opponents are 18-7. So, Coach, do you think that we're where we need to be as a team going into the second half of the season?
Absolutely. I mean, what we talk about every week is we cannot control who our opponent is, what the record is, what they're doing. But what we can control is our discipline, our fundamentals of the game, doing things right. And so, just a couple of things from this past game that I said, our goals get better each day, every week. Some things that I thought, taking from the Rayville game, where we got better in this area. First game all season, we did not have a pre-snap or post-snap penalty. That's big. That's not beating yourself. Offense, 0 turnovers. That's not beating yourself. So again, offensively, they're taking care of the football. Defensively, we created more turnovers than we have in any game this season. Created 6 turnovers. Had another one on special teams with the kickoff, and so 7 takeaways. And offense capitalized on each of those. And so those things, again, the discipline there by offense, the intentionality by defense to create turnovers, and then the discipline of pre-snap, post-snap, eliminating all those penalties. Those are all things that are huge and make a big difference. And then, special teams, Gavin hit his 50-yard field goal, and so we had our longest kick we're going to have to go back for
maybe
probably
a decade,
10 years.
Yeah.
I know we would. I'd have to go back and check and see if Whit Chapman ever hit one that long. I know we probably attempted some, but if somebody did, it would have been Whit, and his last year to kick was 2014. I did not check and see when the last time that we had made a 50-yard plus was, but it has been at least a decade.
Yeah, I looked, and on the media guide we get, it only shows the last time a 40-yarder was made, and that, of course, that was Gavin, just a week before. So I couldn't get a lot of information on that either.
But going back, where after 5 games, we have progressed. We're communicating. We still, again, there's still some fundamentals that we need to just get better on every week. I mean, but. Pleased with the effort that our guys are playing with. Hadn't been in the fire a whole lot defensively, but you go back to the week before where long kickoff return, our guys got put under pressure, having to start inside the own 10-yard line and had the goal line stand. And so I'm pleased with their effort, and again, just they're continuing to get better. We're adding a little bit of stuff here and there, offensively, defensively, and they're picking up and executing those things.
So you mentioned, you were kind of, in a stressful situation after that long kickoff return 2 weeks ago against Madison. But there are some other, maybe not as stressful, but when you're on defense and the team's got third down, and if you keep them from getting that first down, you've got a good chance to get the ball back. Well, your defense has been very good at that this year. And your offense has been very good at converting those first downs. I looked at it. I think it's just off my memory, but I think opponents are like 22% at converting third downs, and we're just under 50% on the season. So that makes a huge difference in controlling the game. So,
it does. Those money downs are big. I mean, that's something that both sides of the ball we preach. Again, those are downs you do need to convert offensively and defensively. Like you said, you stop them. They're kicking the ball back to you usually. So
Yeah, get the ball back.
Yeah.
But your defense has done a good job of getting the ball back without facing those third and fourth downs. I'm sure some of the interceptions have come on third or fourth down. Actually, I know they have, because you put them in kind of the opposing offense in a compromising position. But, Coach, you got 11 interceptions in 5 games, your defense does. So this past week, Eli Red had 2 interceptions, and he joins Cooper Russell, Ridge Coates, and Cam Vullion. They all have multiple interceptions on the season. Hey, that's not too bad. Over 2 interceptions a game.
That's good. That's good.
So, and I attribute that, one, to the playmaking and ball skills of your secondary, but also our defensive line has done a good job getting pressure. And you've kind of there's a rotation in there now, it looks like. So you've got John Turner rolling in and Stacy Shaw kind of spelling each other, because they both play both ways. And John Turner had a big tackle the other night. I mean, so they're both showing up. So talk about your defensive line for a minute.
Yeah, and we've got 4 guys that start on the offensive line that rotate through there. You mentioned John and Stacy, but also Micah Mosier, Jackson Mann. Those guys are rotating through there. And then Landon Waller is a full-time defense-only guy that he stays out there a lot to that D end. And so, again, those 5 guys have been rotating through. Desaiah Bradshaw is another one that has. And then this past week we used Cooper Thomas in there at D-line. And so
I've seen Hudson Weems out there too.
Yeah, Hudson Weems is a sophomore that's out there. And so we have rotated more guys, just, again, trying to keep them fresh, because a lot of those guys are playing on the offensive side of the ball as well. And so they've done a great job, like I say, getting that pressure to where rushes the quarterback a little bit before he's ready and stuff like that. And so, yeah, people don't always see that. They just see the interceptions, but the D-line's been doing a great job of getting some pressure on the quarterback.
Well, I noticed it, and I think it was the last interception this week. The Hornets were kind of going on a drive, and I mentioned to David Gordy on the broadcast, I was like, we're kind of this, we're bending a little bit on defense, but if we just keep them from having the big play, they'll make a mistake eventually. And lo and behold, the next play they throw that interception to Eli that he caught over his shoulder. So the turnovers are a big deal. And you mentioned no turnovers for us this past week. Our offense seemed to gel a little bit more, be a little more efficient this week. I think Luke was 15 of 25 for 214 yards and 5 interceptions. So,
5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 5 touchdowns this week. So he had, I would say it was his best game of the season so far.
Yeah, there's no doubt. That was big, because a lot of those balls were ones that he had to put just in the right spot where the defender could not get to it. And so, yeah, he had a great game. And, I think Turpin had 3 touchdown catches, and Boyan had 2. Mm-hmm. And so, and then, spread the ball around to a lot of other guys as well. And so that's huge when you have that many different weapons that you can go to. Well,
you mentioned the weapons, and, I want to go back to kind of in the trenches with our offensive line. Bo Gregory, John Larkin Turner, Stacy Shaw, Micah Mosier, and Jackson Mann. I mean, without those guys in there, like nothing happens. I mean, we don't run the ball. Macon had his second game where he went over 100 yards consecutively. Jude Turner is a Swiss Army knife. I mean, Macon's the same way. You can put either one of those guys anywhere on the field. But those 5 guys on the offensive line, along with Cooper Russell and Ridge Coates that play tight end, and, of course, Jude, at the B-back a lot. I mean, they did a really good job, I thought. Better than against Madison, but I thought they did a good job this past week.
Yeah, and again, that offensive line, they just continue to gel each and every week and get better. And Coach Mosier spends a lot of time with those guys. Coach Sanford, to watch film with them on Mondays and evaluate what did we do right, improved, where can we get better. And so, again, they just continue to do a great job and get better and better every week. Because, yeah, if your offensive line is not gelled and clicking, it takes all 5 of them for it to work, and those guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, you mentioned Patrick Turpin. He had 3 touchdowns this past week. That's the second game that he's had 3 touchdowns. So through 5 games, last week he had 4 catches for 101 yards and the 3 touchdowns. Over the season, he's got 15 catches for just under 300 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cam Vuillon's having a great year. Andon Melton has made some plays in the past couple weeks, but Luke Edwards was back this past week. I think he caught one ball, maybe, but it's good to see him working his way back in. Your receivers, Coach, if I had to describe them, they're tough. I mean, because they catch the ball, but the play's not over when they catch the ball. They fight. And
they do
fight
a good job of
yards
after catch. They do a really good job. And so, yeah, you got those guys. They're doing great. And then, as you mentioned, our, running backs, Macon and Turner, they're both able to make plays out of the backfield, catch the ball in yards after catch. And so, again, our guys that are on the receiving end have been doing a great job, and Luke's getting it there to them. And, again, to have that many different guys that are threats, you can't just concentrate on one.
That's right. So 5-0, and I mentioned the win-loss record of our opponents thus far. But for our team, I mean, they've done what they're supposed to do. They've won the games convincingly, the way that they're supposed to do them, and they've learned and they've grown each time through. On top of that, you've got a kicker, and you mentioned Gavin Polk hit a 50-yarder. The other night, which was fantastic, and Coach, I'm going to argue that he had more than 50 on that.
Oh, there's no doubt he did. That did not just clear the ball. The bar that would have been good from 55 at least, and so I'm sure he'll get plenty of shots this year. So, but yeah, that was big. It's always, again, to hit that first one, then it's like, okay, I've done it, and he hit a 60 yesterday in practice. Lined it up, and it was like, wow. And so he has a great kicking leg. So
well, I've never been so excited to see a kicker go on the field. I love Gavin. He's a great kid, first of all, but to see what he's about to do, whether it's a kickoff or a field goal attempt. Speaking of that, though, the extra points, he was 6 for 6 the other night, and now he is the all-time leader in points after touchdowns in OCS history. Total, but also in consecutive kicks. And so, I don't know what else we can say about Gavin except, he's a weapon whenever he steps on the field. Like, it's dangerous for the other team when Gavin steps out there.
He is. And the thing about his PATs, he's just a junior.
Yeah.
He set that record as a junior, whereas all the other ones, they went through their senior year. And so, he's going to make that a tough one for somebody to come along and break. But he has his percentage on those PATs is probably up around 98%.
I think it's over 97%.
And so the other ones that were top 5, they may have had 40 misses in their career. Over a 3-year, 4-year period or whatever. But Gavin, again, he's been solid, and that. His percentage is getting right there close to 98%. So, that's what you want from a kicker. You tell him, I want 1 point.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to make the extra point after the touchdown. Give me that 1 point. Be consistent on that. And then you get one that does all the extra as he does with the kickoffs and the field goals and everything like that. That's just all, a great bonus on top of it.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago. I mean, it's probably, maybe 7 or 8 years ago now where we had to do a lot of onside kicks and a lot of going for twos because, we just didn't have that type of luxury in place where we can count on Gavin, a kicker getting that extra point or putting it into the end zone.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it is. It's a great weapon.
Yeah. And like you said, I agree 100%. I don't think that it may be several years before we see the current records broken. Plus, he's going to add to those things. Well, it was a great win. It brought you to 2-0 in district, and now we're going to finish out the season, the next 5 games. It's hard to believe we're halfway through the 2024 season, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to ask you to stick around. We're going to talk about the upcoming matchup this week against the Delhi Charter Gators, so stay tuned after this break.
Looking for a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5.
So much.
That's everything you get with the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back, Eagle fans, to the McDonald's Coaching Show. I'm here with Coach Stephen Fitzhugh. Again, coming off a win to bring our group to 5-0 on the season, 2-0 in district, and we're going to look forward to Friday night when we host the Delhi Charter Gators. Coach, as far as the Gators go, is this an opponent that we've played before? What's our history with Delhi Charter?
Well, we have played them many a times. Matter of fact, this will be the best team we've played thus far, without a doubt. But Delhi Charter last year on JV, they handed our JV the worst loss that our JV's had in the 18 years that Coach Bentley has been here at OCS. I mean, they beat us like 50 to 20 something.
It was also the first loss in like 4 or 5 years for a JV team.
It was, and so a lot of those guys that they had on that team, they're playing up on varsity now this year as well. Just like, we had at least 5 juniors playing in that game last year. So very talented Delhi Charter team that's coming over, and they run a great scheme with split back veer defensively. They're going to line up and run the odd stack like we do as well, and try to bring pressure and do different things like that. And so we're playing a very talented football team this week.
So I remember last year, because I have 10th graders in class, and I remember after they lost, I was like, I've been watching those records. I was like, what happened? And they said they had a couple players that were really good. One of them I think was a running back. And so do you know who they're talking about, Coach?
Well, they have 2 outstanding running backs. Keydron Thomas is the one that is the guy that gets probably the most notoriety. He has several D1 offers right now. He wears jersey number 8. But he has offers from Arkansas State, Lafayette, as a free safety as well. But he's a 10-6 kid in the 100 meters, won our regional meet here, and went down state meet. And Delhi Charter's sprint relay team, they were top in the region as well. They got guys that can go. And so, again, he's just one of those 2 outstanding running backs that they have. Caden Higgins is quarterback senior that has been running that veer for a while. And then, a guy that made a bunch of plays on us last year, didn't matter who he stuck out there at DB, was Tavan Carter. He had several catches in that game versus us last year when he was a freshman. He's just a sophomore. He wears jersey number 1, and he can run. He can jump. He is the state champion last year as a freshman in the triple jump. And if you look at the long jump runway to the east side of our pole vault, we have an added extension on there, and there's carved in there with a nail that says TC. And that stands for Tavan Carter. I told him he came over here. He had such a long approach, and it's like this kid's the best in the state, and we got to make sure we have the legal regulations for a runway, and added a little bit on there. And so, he was the responsibility for us adding that addition to the triple jump runway. But again, he's a talented receiver. They'll throw the ball up, and he goes up and gets it. And so, very talented offense that we're seeing. And then again, defensively, they got guys, some big guys up front on the D line, and guys in the secondary that can run. They'll get in a lot of man coverage and stuff, and just try to connect. And then, as we talked about our D-line earlier, they're going to try to get their D-line to apply some pressure, to the quarterback and stuff like that. So, without a doubt, best team that we've seen up to this point.
All right, Coach, you said they run the veer. Are you suiting up this week to play quarterback?
I've actually I think I got Cole Voyon coached up a little bit. And, it's not the flex bone, a little bit different, but it's the same thought process and that's the thing. We're going to have to be extremely disciplined because, split back veer, all they want, they're just reading their key. And if the defensive end steps upfield 1 foot, he's going to give it, and their running backs have the speed that's all they need. Give them just a small crease, and they'll be gone. And so we're going to have to play very disciplined football defensively, assignment football. Everybody do their job this week. And so So anyway, I feel like we got Cole Voyon coached up. He'll be doing a good job at scout quarterback.
Well, good. Well, I don't think you want to take too many more hits like that from Stacey Shaw.
No. I've made it out unscathed so far. So far so good.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an exciting game. It's a district matchup. It's like you said, and I agree with you. I think this is the best team. It's going to be our toughest challenge of the season thus far. We got several more coming up in the future, but I want to go back to this past weekend, Coach, and I want to talk about Saturday night at the 50th anniversary celebration. You had a chance to stand up in front of 700 some odd people that love Ouachita Christian, and you unveiled, you and Coach Harper and Coach Parker unveiled a plan for the future, and it includes some fantastic upgrades. Coach, you've been here 27th year as head coach. You said, I think, 31 years that you've been here. So you've been here the majority of the time that OCS has been in existence. What do you look forward to in the future for the school and specifically for your football program down the road?
Well, I'll tell you, just OCS has been blessed through the years, and that was a great celebration the other night. And to unveil the vision that, OCS started and it was a lot of weekend warrior jobs, dads that laid concrete here or there, with even bleachers. There was dads that were involved in building things and doing things. And so there's been a lot of time and energy, money spent through the years. But, yeah, to go ahead and, like I say, have that vision, that dream carry into the next 50 years that we have an alumni base now of 50 years that we can reach out to, whereas in the early years you didn't have that. You just had the immediate ones that were involved right then. And so, to have that vision that we can have a new field house and new weight equipment, new locker rooms, things like that will improve the facilities. And then, again, we talked about, the blessing of a turf field that we saved money for, and that has been great, that it goes for all sports. But to have the turf on the baseball field and the softball field, just that you don't ever have to worry about that rain.
Yeah.
That it can let it rain all at once, too, and you can go play ball, 30 minutes later or whatever. It's not going to stop you there. And then, again, trying to, for the school, for teachers, for the coaches, trying to get it to where their compensation is, is more like, the schools around us, because, it's a tough draw. That a kid coming out of college is making X amount it's just they don't even give us the time or attention so many times because there's no comparison. And so that's something that we're trying to work on, that we need to, for all teachers, all coaches, is to try to get it so that compensation, that we can keep the coaches that we have and then attract young qualified coaches as well, that there is a draw that they can do things. And so that's some of the things, the vision that we have. And again, OCS has been blessed, made the most of what we have and everything like that. But the dream of being able to upgrade and get some new things and continue to dress up our campus and facilities, that's exciting.
Yeah, God's done great things through OCS, and with this vision and with this plan, I think that God is going to continue to do great things through this school, through the staff, administration, coaches, through this school. So, I look forward to the rest of the season, but I also look forward to my kids going here, until they graduate high school and being a part of this history and this family here. So, I do want to thank you for your time, Coach. I look forward to Friday night. Fans, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Fitzhugh Field at Eagle Stadium. Be sure you're there. We want to pack the stands. We want to make a lot of noise. It's going to be our toughest game of the year per Coach Stephen Fitzhugh. So make sure you come out there, cheer these boys on. We're looking forward to a great season. Join us next week. Next week we'll discuss how this game went coming up Friday, and then we'll look forward to the Beekman Charter Tigers in Week 7. So that's it for the Week 6 McDonald's Coaches Show. Do want to thank McDonald's for sponsoring, supporting, and partnering with our football program here at OCS. Until next week, go Eagles.